In November of 2021, Bethesda released the Skyrim Anniversary Edition upgrade, and out of all the additions that Bethesda has made to this wonderful game, this particular edition was one of them. As this reviewer on Steam puts it, overpriced, underdelivered, modern-day Bugthesda, bought because mods required it. And while I too purchased the Anniversary Edition because a number of mods required it, and it is admittedly buggy and lackluster, which does in turn lead to it being too expensive for what it is, I actually kinda liked it. Is it a janky mess haphazardly thrown together? Yes. Is it kind of lazy and lacking in professional effort? Yes. Is it also third example? Also, yes. But does it add over 600 items to display in our museum? You bet your beast of burden it does. And well, that's what we'll be doing for the next 2 episodes in what ultimately felt like playing Skyrim, but it's a fever dream. We have a few more details to go over before we fully get into things, but first, roll that intro. We're trying to fill up this museum in Solitude with every unique thing we can get our hands on, and there's well over 4,000 things to collect, so we're gonna have to leave no stone unturned. This is the Relic Hunter's Guide to Skyrim. Content added by the Creation Club is stored in the Hall of Wonders and falls into one of 6 categories: houses, weapons and clothes, quests, unique creatures, rare curios, and fishing. And look, I understand that on some level almost all of these are technically quests, but some of them are more questy than others, and I will show you what I mean. To get things started, we're headed to Candlehearth Hall in Windhelm. Once inside, we can find this book, which I'm sure says some very interesting things, the main takeaway being that we need to head to Kronvanger Cave. We were here in the last episode, so all we need to do is make our way back down to the bottom, and once we're there, we can find one of the most disgusting spiders to ever exist. And after making short work of the abomination, we can search this bundled body to recover Ice Carver. We can then search this other bundled body to recover the Fists of Randagulf. They increase our unhanded damage even more than our current setup, so we'll be keeping them on our person. They make me look so hot. Don't even deny it. See what I mean though? We read a book, went to a cave, and found some shit. That's not a quest, it's an errand. It's less than an errand. I've taken dookies that took more effort than that. Anyway, Ice Carver can be displayed in the Hall of Wonders. Didn't find any specific lore on this piece, but it's here all the same, and I'm not about to complain about that. The Fists of Randagulf actually go in the Hall of Heroes because although they were added by the Creation Club, they were previously already added by the Legacy of the Dragonborn mod and thus already had a place in the museum. As you might have guessed, they were owned by a fella named Randagulf, said to be one of the mightiest warriors in all of Skyrim during the First Age. Historians claim he met his fate at the hands of King Harold, the first High King of Skyrim. So as you can see, there is a stark difference between what I would consider a quest and what we just accomplished. A majority of what we'll be doing today is going to be more of the same. Go here, grab a thing, go there, grab a relic. But that's not always the case because we're after displays as much as we're after relics. I've mentioned it before, but displays are the things in the museum that appear after achieving certain feats. For our sake, all of the Creation Club content that adds creatures also comes with a corresponding display. The pet display from the last episode is a good example of that. Let's take a look at what that looks like with this next quest, and I'll check back with you guys in a bit. Our next errand can be started by completing the Wolf Queen Awakened quest, after which we receive a letter via courier from Bolgear Bearclaw, which directs us to a small spot in the swamps just across from Solitude. Once here, we can make exceptionally short work of this necromancer. What an idiot, am I right? Summoning dead things to try to kill me? Where do you think these dead things came from? Actually, here, let me just show you. With him dead, we can recover a totem bone from his body, which allows us to tame the nearby bone wolf trapped in this cage. He's very cute, but he's just not my special boy. So we send him off to Whiterun to join our animal posse. Don't forget to grab this spell tome on top of the barrel in the alcove. We need that for the display. We'll then need to make a replica of the totem bone and summon bone wolf spell tome, but with that done, it can all be displayed in the Hall of Wonders. The model of the wolf itself counts as a display and appeared when we completed the quest. And yes, there is an empty slot there. The final tome we need for this display lies in the Soul Cairn, which is canonically beyond our reach. This next next one can be started by reading the Writ of Execution pinned to the fireplace at the Penitus Oculatus outpost in Dragon Bridge, which we did ages ago, so we're picking things up from where it matters. We're here at Steepfall Burrow, lower entrance, northern coast. Once inside, we can find what's left of Prefect Torbal, who seems to have lost a fight with the local wildlife. Rest in pieces, dummy. We can search his body to recover a blood-soaked note, completely illegible by the way, but it points us to the upper entrance of the cave. Once there, we can head inside across the gap through the caves, and right next to this big chest for our efforts, we can recover the Lord's Mail, used by Tiber Septim himself allegedly, a solid addition to our museum regardless. It goes in the Hall of Heroes. Next up, we're headed to Karthspire Camp. You may recall a few episodes back when we followed this ghost up a hill and it led us straight to a forsworn ambush. Well, it turns out his heart is here and he wants it back. These bitches with no degree have it here somewhere. With them down, we can snag ourselves a corrupted human heart. Me too, bud. We can then make short work of the rest of the Forsworn in Karthspire, because, I don't know, I felt like it, I guess. It was worth doing, though, because we came across this unique big chest for our efforts, and from inside we recovered this statue of Oda Ving. What a handsome boy. We can stash him in the Hall of Oddities.
I've been wandering alone for so long, I thought I'd never see another soul again. I was kidnapped by these bandits weeks ago. They locked me up in the towers near Mistwatch.
Back at the ghost's grave, we can bless the heart using this very conveniently placed Shrine of Mara and pop that bad boy back in the dirt. Then, they appear, embrace, and depart. And in their place, Ebony Spell Knight armor, because in Skyrim, where there's love, there's loot. I tried it on, looked good, but not as good as this hot, sexy fit. We'll need to craft our own set of Ebony Spell Knight armor, as tragically we can't place the enchanted version on display, but once that's done, it can be placed in the Hall of Wonders, fully completing this particular display. Our next stop is Castle Dower. We're here because we got a letter asking us to be the Imperial Champion and face off against the Stormcloak Champion, so basically just a dick measuring contest. We'll need to talk to Legate Adventus Caesenius and let him know that we're just the person for the job.
This won't be easy, but that's why I'm sending you. Think you can handle it? I knew I could count on you, soldier. Here. This is for you.
He gives us a key. We can take this key downstairs and into this little room. It opens this little chest, and inside we can find Akatosh's Talon, which looks super cool and snazzy. Dragon's Oath, which, you know, looks like a sword. And the Imperial Dragon armor set, which we won't be wearing, cause good lord. There's also a note from Adventus, which I'm sure is very interesting, and a battle map pointing us toward the fight. It's just here northeast of Whiterun. Our opponent is already waiting, Clesia Wolfclaw, Stormcloak Champion, or if you prefer, Traitorous Scum.
Let's do this already. I'm itching to kill something.
Bold words from a future corpse.
For the sons of Skyrim.
Well, that hardly seems fair. I thought this was a champions battle. Classic Stormcloaks. Why fight honorably when you can instead be a Stormcloak? Making our way back to the battlefield, we can swiftly take out yet another idiot who fails to look good in my immaculate drip. Fortunately, Clesia's body is still here, so we can search her to recover the Storm Bear armor set, which, as far as looks go, is the superior armor set here. We can also recover the Storm Bear sword, which, as far as I can tell, is just an iron sword, and Soon's Judgment, which is an axe. All of these things we collected here go in the Hall of Wonders. That's another display complete, and a rather nice one at that. I'll give it a smash, you know? I mean, maybe not all at once, but we can take turns. This next one is going to be super straightforward. At some point, we found a note in the Nightgate Inn, and that note wanted us to search this barrel around the back. In the barrel, we can find a journal belonging to an undercover guard. I guess they were looking for bandits, and they found one. And we can find them too by heading to this little spot on the north coast next to the Thalmor jail. We'll just have to kill some disgusting Thalmor when we get here, but they suck, so it's not that big of a deal. We can then search Pale Eyes here to recover an enchanted set of iron plate armor. Once we've made the unenchanted version for ourselves, the entire set can be displayed in the Hall of Wonders. Arguably not that unique, but it has a display, so I am compelled by the museum to obey. Now, while I was killing those Thalmor, you may have gotten a glimpse of this distinguished gentleman. This is the Conchologist, and much like the Archivist from when we did the College of Winterhold, this homie exists to save us the trouble of grinding out semi-random content. In this case, it's seashells. Can this be done manually? Of course it can, but I've already done it once before and it wasn't that great. Just 3 to 5 hours of mindlessly wandering the coast with a damn telescope, hoping and praying that the next seashell you find is actually something you need and not just a duplicate. So yeah, we're not doing that. Instead, we're gonna buy out everything we need, wait 48 hours for him to restock, and repeat that process until we're home free. After 30 in-game days, we've acquired 66 various seashells, conches, and other sea-related things, and well, that actually wraps out the display we have in the Gallery of Natural Science. Looks pretty damn cool, to be honest. If I was a kid, this would have been my favorite exhibit by far. Mainly because stuff that comes from the ocean is very colorful, and as a young child, I really enjoyed eating things like Skittles and crayons, so these would have likely made for a super tasty treat. You may have noticed that a lot of these are just armors, and this one is no different. We're off to the Ember Shard Mine. We're here because we picked up a dossier from the Whiterun Guard barracks at some point. Apparently there's some orc blacksmith here forging stuff for bandits, and that's bad. We can find her here in the main cave. Unfortunately, she's protected by not 2, but 3 bandits. Fortunately, that accounts for very little, and she goes down all the same. We throw out a fart cloud to hide our movements and search the body. I guess she was a criminal on the run who wanted to work at the Skyforge. Instead, she wound up working here, making armor for the bandits? How stupid. Just pay off your bounty, idiot, or go to another hold, or hell, sit in jail for a week. There's literally no consequences here. Anyway, we can then search this nearby bandit who I think was already dead to find a set of Orcish plate armor. Of course, as with the others we've seen so far, we'll need to make our own set before we can display it, and once that's done, it goes in the Hall of Wonders. It's about the same as the other armor displays, but still a nice addition nonetheless. At some other point in our journey, we asked Elda here at Candlehearth Hall about any work that needs doing. It was, of course, on a note. Apparently, a merchant went missing near Trader's Post, and the Jarl wants someone to investigate. Naturally, that means us, so off we go. Unsurprisingly, we find a decent number of bandits, nothing I can't handle, or so I think. Apparently, the Blizzard spell still finds a way to absolutely wreck my shit. Back at Trader's Post, the fool who killed us wastes no time trying to kill us yet again and manages to put up a halfway decent fight. Not decent enough, of course. Just who the hell do you think I am? With them dead, we can search this body, who turns out to be the missing merchant. From his body, we can recover Volume 5 of the Crimson Dirks and the Ring of Masser. It's supposed to be a Khajiit artifact, and with it being named after one of the moons, that tracks. Our next step is actually to take the ring to Madron, and while we could trade it away for some nice Daedric mail armor, we need the ring for the museum, so we'll just be buying it outright for a mere 5,000 gold. Oh, chump change, really. Very much worth the coin. Oh. All of this nice armor, aside from the helmet, which is just a regular Daedric helmet, can be displayed in the Hall of Wonders, along with Crimson Dirks Volume 5 and the Ring of Masser. I don't know what this means exactly, but I want to fill those boots. This next one is super quick and can be started by reading the Crimson Dirks Volume 4, which can be found in the hallway in Candlehearth Hall. I imagine I picked it up back in the Relic Reclamation Mandate days, but who knows? It's all just kind of a blur at this point anyway. It tells the story of a Bosmer named Fothris. He wanted to marry another Bosmer named Zaharia. However, Zaharia said she would only accept him if he gave her a dragon scale. Given the fact that at the time dragons were likely considered to be extinct, this was likely a sick burn. Antonius, a drunken bandit mage, overheard this exchange and told Fothris the story of Ulfnir Boneskin, a warrior who was said to have killed a dragon and fashioned armor from its scales. Fothris, guided by the power of his boner alone, made for Yogrim's Overlook, and we're here to investigate. After killing 2 normal skeletons, we're faced with the skeleton of Ulfnir Boneskin himself, and I gotta say, the name fits. After killing him, we can take a key from his body and search this big chest for our efforts to recover the studded dragon scale armor set. Very, very cool if I do say so myself. Oh, and we also found Fothris' body. It seems he wrote a poem to Zaharia that he was going to include with the armor. Zaharia, my dearest flower, you are the seed from which love sprouts. I would break the green pact itself to pluck you from the ground. Oh, Zaharia, your very name is a spell. that burns hotter than dragon fire. Thus I bring you this armor of scales so that I may stand inside your flame, my sweet Zaharia. As I lay upon the snow, I think of your bosoms. I liked them, you know. I went for the drive, but I fumbled the pitch. Now I'm dead, like a stupid bitch. So yeah, all that armor plus volume 4 of the Crimson Dirks goes in the Hall of Wonders. I actually really like this armor. I'd definitely have considered letting Fothris smash if he'd brought this back to me, but I guess we'll never know what could have been. Oh. Righto, we are making some decent progress through our list of Creation Club content, quite a lot of nothing quests so far, but thankfully this upcoming segment has a handful of quests that actually have some content. Maybe not super amazing content, but the bar thus far has been set really low, so we've got a fair amount of vertical movement to work with here. We've managed to collect a staggering 45 relics so far, and that's not including the shells, but there's still plenty to get, so let's just jump right back in and enjoy some slightly better quests, some vanilla quests, and our very first hint of the darkness lurking in our future. Back when we were at the college, we found some research notes from someone named Aranya. She's been in search of Goldbrand, a legendary relic supposedly made by the dragons in ages long past. Well, she supposedly found its resting place, and it's just north of Windhelm at Sivder's Respite. Or Respite. It's one of those things. However, according to the research, in order to enter Sivder's tomb, we'll need his necklace and the skull of his nemesis. Because why use keys, right? Keys are garbage when compared to hot bling and the blood of your enemies. So we're here in Whiterun not only to check on our posse, but to meet up with Lars Battleborn. Why? Because according to Aranya's research, he is the youngest living descendant of Sivder and was entrusted his necklace as a family heirloom. Fortunately for us, children lack any semblance of perspective, and he hands it over for a paltry 10 coins.
For that price? Sure.
Moving right along, the research also makes mention of Sivder's nemesis. He was a dragon priest named Magrathi, who back in the day killed Sivder's brother over a land dispute. He totally got away with it and was later buried in Shroud Hearth Barrow. You may know it as the barrow outside Ivarstead. I know it as the barrow with the giant scaled up door that makes me look like a silly little guy. In the dungeon itself, we can find this ghost? Sure looks like a ghost, but it's not. It's some dude named Wendelius who concocted a potion to make himself look like a ghost. Why did he do that? Well, according to his journal, he's been trying to make it past the Dragonclaw door and needed a way to scare away superstitious locals so he wouldn't be interrupted. He eventually made the Filter of the Phantom. We can find one of them on his body and the other on the table. Don't drink these. You can drink one of them, but we need it for the museum, so it's better to just be safe. It goes in the Hall of Oddities. Too bad Wendelius was a dumbass. This kind of potion would have made him rich. Instead, he eventually went crazy due to some brainy influence deep within the dungeon. You might think it's the guy we're after, but it's totally not, because the dude we're after is just chilling right here in front of the door, and you'd think Wendelius would have made mention of this fella, but I guess not. He doesn't put up much of a fight, and we can claim his skull from his remains for our efforts. Finally arriving at Sivder's Respite, we can head inside and find some Boethia cultists. They're stupid and weak, so that goes about as well as you'd expect. They're here because Goldbrand is actually a Daedric artifact belonging to Boethia, so maybe dragons didn't make it? Not sure, but we can go ahead and place Sivder's amulet on this pedestal and Magrathi's skull on this one to open the way forward. Not really much to see in here, all things considered. Nothing you wouldn't expect at any rate. Finally arriving in the last room, we can approach the table to collect Rhymelink? Yes, it seems that Goldbrand is not here, but in its place we can instead recover Rhymelink. It's a sword modeled after a Seishi Blood Drinker longsword, which is quite a mouthful. After picking up Rhymelink, we're immediately attacked by Sivder's Honor Guard, who, in an attempt to guard Sivder, failed to guard themselves. Then, I really thought Sivder was gonna jump out and try to take us on, but I guess that homie is super extra dead. Anywho, Rhymelink goes right here on this display in the Hall of Wonders upper level. It is a very cool looking sword. I'd definitely give it a cuddle if not an outright smash. And you may have noticed that this sword is one of 3 on this display, so keep your smashes handy, we're gonna need them later. We're here outside the Darklight Tower because we need to reach the Crow's Tooth camp. It lies in an area of the Gerald Mountains that is surrounded on all sides by fairly steep cliffs, and it can only be reached on foot through Darklight Tower. And yes, we could probably work our way up there with a horse, but this works out for us as there are always relics to be recovered, and the ones within Darklight Tower are no exception.
By the gods, I know this looks bad. Let me explain.
It's nice of you to offer, but that's my job. This is Ilya. She's been living in this tower with a coven of witches, and they work to serve the hagravens that also live in the tower. From what it looks like, Ilya has been at this for some time now and has, by her own admission, done some terrible things. However, right before we arrived, she was asked by another witch to find a living human to use as a sacrifice in an upcoming ritual. At this point, Ilya decided enough is enough. She would not find and help kill an innocent person, and it was when she was trying to leave that we arrived to see her kill this other witch. As much as she would like to continue with the leaving part, she then tells us that the human sacrifice was needed for an unspecified ritual that would apparently turn one of their own into a hagraven. It just so happens that the person chosen to undergo the ritual was Ilya's mother, and so we agree to help her out and put a stop to her mother's personification.
We have to fight our way up. I don't think anyone else here is about to have a change of heart.
Yes, there's only one redemption arc in this quest, and it's not mine. Making our way up the tower, we eventually come across our first hagraven, but no worries, like most birds, they've got brittle bones. The explosions from the hagraven may have knocked this around, but do not miss the shark near this table. It's a sword that is in the design of a shark, and it goes in the Hall of Oddities. Not really sure if there's a reference being made here, but it is by far the most unique weapon in the museum. Also, in case you're wondering, the acronym stands for Shark, Hark, Ark, Urk, K. Hope that clears things up. Finally, towards the top of the tower, we can find the Robes of Creativity. Added by the Oblivion Artifact Pack mod, these robes have some pretty decent buffs overall. They find their home in the Hall of Heroes. And fun fact, in the Oblivion days, these robes weren't all good. They increased intelligence and personality, but they lowered willpower. It's basically the equivalent of becoming a YouTube content creator.
All right. Mother is just outside this door. I have a plan. You have to die now. Don't be sorry for me. If I would have known it would come to this. Mother. Keep Mother's staff. I want to leave everything from this cursed place behind. Goodbye, and thank you.
Farewell, and good luck. I'm sorry it had to come to this. From her mother's still fresh corpse, we can snag the Staff of Hag's Wrath. It not only creates walls of fire, but is an accurate description of my spine on any given day. It goes in the Hall of Heroes with the other staves. Probably makes for a good back scratcher too. Now that we're up here, we can make for the Crow's Tooth camp. We're headed there because there's a bounty for Crow's Tooth, who I guess is a person. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're here, but after we've killed all the idiots loafing around, we can search this hagraven to recover a note. The note is mostly nonsense rambling that you would expect from a hagraven. Things like, with his help, an army of bones will dance to her ka. Like, is it necromancy, or are we looking for some kind of sexy siren? Whatever the case, we're headed for Arkwind Point. This place can be reached on foot by taking the path west of Bethalft. Pretty nice place, actually. Stopping off at the first barrow and making quick work of this Draugr, we can find Sanamia's 4th journal. There are 6 of these in total, and they point us towards different places that we can excavate for unique treasures. This one points to Lake Ilinalta. We'll be spending a great deal of time there later on, so we'll be saving this for later. Further into Arkwind Point, we can make short work of this ancient dragon, and even shorter work of this Draugr Deathlord, and collect the first word of the Drain Vitality Shout. Approaching the final tower, we can find our first real enemy of this area. Real because they have a name, not because they're strong. In fact, a very poor showing for the priests of Namira. What a loser. Aha! This is the Crow's Tooth person that we're after. You lasted 2 fistings longer than most of your friends. Fair play. We can search her to find a unique weapon called Tyrant's Bane. It's not unique enough to have a display, but we take those. Towards the top of the tower, we can find and collect the Helm of Orin Bearclaw. It goes in the Hall of Heroes with the other head stuff. Honestly, super cool. You could stab the shit out of your enemies with a headbutt. How cool is that? Literal face mash, impaling and all. Finally, at the tippy top of the tower, we can find and search the dead body of Bjormund Windstrider. He has in his possession the Dragonbone Mail and the Dragonplate insulated armor pieces. The Dragonbone Mail itself is displayed in the Hall of Heroes with the other rare armor, supposedly enchanted by Zurin Arctis himself. Big if true. And after making our own full unenchanted set of the insulated Dragonplate armor, it can be displayed on the lower level of the Hall of Heroes. This armor set makes me hungry. Before leaving Arkwind Point, don't forget to take in the view. It's arguably one of the best views in all of Skyrim. If you've got a better view in mind, let me know in the comments, or better yet, join my Discord and post a picture of the view yourself. The link is in the description. On the way out, we can search Alvasor, the Namira priest. He has a unique helmet and weapon, but they're not displayed, so take it or leave it. I took it, cause is unique, therefore must have. According to a letter I received at level 5, there's a group of necromancers trying to summon an army of zombies. Don't know why this is my problem, but we're gonna go take care of it anyway. We can find the spot in the mountains southeast of Helgen. Looks like the zombies formed some kind of a union and killed the necromancers. Unfortunately, their next step was to oppose me, and boy, have you ever fisted your way through a horde of zombies? 10 out of 10 would fist again. For our efforts, we can recover the Conjure Zombie Spell Tome. Just need to complete the quest, which we can do by reading the Necromancer's Journal. Hopefully nobody on console runs into this, but he had clipped through the ground, so I had no choice but to toggle collision in order to reach him. The journal was pretty underwhelming. This dude found the tome, trained for 1 calendar month to be able to use it, came here, wrote a huge monologue about how strong he is, using phrases like, "The whole of my training has been for this moment," and "Its power will radiate across Skyrim, bringing forth waves of undead from the darkness." He then summoned a grand total of 10 zombies who immediately turned on their master, killing both him and his apprentice. Truly inspirational work. I wonder if he was surprised. This display can be found under the stairs. The Conjure Zombie Tome takes this upper left slot. The other 3 are purchased randomly from spell merchants. I personally camped out at Finis for these, and it didn't take very long before I had them all. Honestly, I'm not sure how this quest was started, but we're here at the roadside ruin west of Falkreath. After killing the Spriggan inside, we're confronted with a choice. Fortune, power, or nothing. Money is no object to us, and I want something, so power is the obvious choice here. Oh, not again. We wake up in a cell that isn't locked, going by the name of the quest, The Pit, and this assortment of weapons and armors. This appears to be a fight arena of some kind. Fortunately for us, our weapons come pre-installed. Entering the arena, we're greeted by a wolf and a pit fighter. Even in rags, they're little more than fisting fodder. The same goes for the 2 saber cats that they tried to stick on me next. After that, we're finally squared off against the champion, Neski Skullsaber. Whoa, cool name. And you're quite intimidating too. That being said, you clearly don't know who you're fucking with. From her body, we can recover the Bitter Cup. Not just any old cup, it's actually a Daedric artifact belonging to Clavicus Vile. In short, it amplifies your strengths and makes your weaknesses even worse. Kinda like my resume. Due to its nature, it finds its home in the Daedric Exhibit Hall. We can also recover the Grand Champion's helmet and sword. These are of course displayed in the Hall of Wonders. Pretty cool. The helmet is admittedly a bit goofy looking, but you know what? I'll give it a smash. And don't worry about the empty slots up top. We'll come back for those sometime soon as they're a bit more involved than the other items. Back at the pit, all we need to do is head upstairs, kill the pit boss and his little piss baby goons, snag the key from his body, steal his shit, and crack open this chest to recover our stuff. Peace out, losers. Have fun being dead. Here at the Riften Fishery, Viria is looking to acquire a juvenile mud crab. Not sure why, but we're here to help out. We can find the baby mud crab west of Broken Fang Cave. It's just here nestled up next to this giant dead mud crab. Sorry, little one, you're going to have a new mommy soon. Back at the Riften docks, we can hand over the baby mud crab.
Thanks. Couldn't have done that without you.
We are rewarded with some gold and a key to the Riften Fishery. Weird. Why would I ever need to get in there? Sounds like a problem for another day. For now, we're here in the Riften sewers to investigate this strange passage. Ages ago, we saw a ghost go in here and just sort of ignored it, but we're gonna get to the bottom of it now. We enter the main chamber to see the same ghost standing in front of some barrier. She disappears to reveal a very familiar, very smashable sword. Obviously, we need to get this, so we're gonna need to investigate these other passages. The first passage takes us to a rather underwhelming room with stairs. Inside the room is the Guardian, and whatever he's guarding, he's doing it badly. Making our way into the next chamber, we see the ghost yet again, and in the very next room, we witness the Guardian bowing before the ghost lady. The Guardian attacks us once again and puts up a slightly better fight, but still lacking in, well, anything of substance. Heading into the final chamber, we're greeted with a tomb. The tomb of the Guardian's wife, no less. Well, that explains why he's so pissed off. Touching the tomb itself makes him even madder, and he appears before us. He starts out by summoning a bunch of cursed smugglers to try and kill us, and we waste no time smuggling my fists into their bodies. He then summons the Red Guardian to try and take us out. This fails, obviously, but it's shortly followed up by the Green Guardian. This guy uses magic, which quite frankly made him weaker. Finally, we're attacked by the Blue Guardian himself, and this guy not only does he but with the blue facade defeated, we're greeted by Laurent Bouchard, an old member of the Blades. Blink and you'll miss it though, homie was old and frail bones make for easy fisting targets. We can recover a full set of blade armor from his body for our efforts. Back in the main room, we see the ghost of Laurent Bouchard and his wife embrace and move on from Mundus together. With the barrier down, we can recover Duskfang. Dumb. It goes in the Hall of Heroes because it's just really special and cool like that. But doing so places a copy in the Hall of Wonders next to the other Seishi-themed swords. As we just saw, this sword belonged to Laurent Bouchard, an infamous member of the Blades. The dungeon we were in was built to separate him from the sword that had driven him mad after the death of his wife. Unfortunately, separating him from the sword caused him to split into 3 separate spirits, and they were all super mad about his wife's remains being desecrated. We picked up a note in this last dungeon that points the way to our 3rd Seishi-themed sword. I guess they had it at some point, but it was stolen by the bandits at Faldar's Tooth. Here at Faldar's Tooth, we can find a note mentioning the sword. They apparently had a cellar all lined up, and they were going to meet at Broken Fang Cave. Cool! I love running all over the place. Making our way to Broken Fang Cave and heading inside, we're greeted by some vampires, which leads me to believe that those bandits are hella dead. After making short work of them, we can head into the back room, kill a vampire who was very clearly not expecting company, and search this big chest for our efforts to recover Bloodthirst. It of course goes on display with the other Seishi-themed swords in the Hall of Wonders. Hell yes, dude, that is a triple smash. Triple smash in the house. Run the train, my friends, don't be afraid. This next one is just for displays and it's super quick. We're here at the Windhelm Stables, and after buying a horse because I don't know where Shadowmare is, we simply need to outfit said horse in both steel and elven armor. Doing so provides displays for both armors in the Hall of Wonders. They stand as a monument to DLC. They set the stage for everything we now know. If only we knew then what we know now. We could have avoided so much death. Okie dokie, we are really starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel in regards to shorter Creation Club content. Since we last talked, we've acquired an additional 23 relics. Not bad, but it could be better, and I'm sure it will be as we dive into larger content. You may have caught wind of such things lurking in the near future, but let's just put a pin in that for now. We've got a few more minor quests to take care of before we delve into anything too time-consuming. We also come across one of the houses added by the Creation Club, so keep an eye out for that. It's quite the spot. This next quest started when we reached level 32 and received a letter from Tira Bloodfire. She's the leader of the Crimson Dirks, and now that her gang has been disbanded, she's looking to atone and wants us to do the deed. However, before we can do that, we need to prove our character, and we can do that by heading to the Windhelm docks and approaching this beggar. We give the beggar a single piece of gold, which I guess is adequate. We're then directed to the Shrine of Talos outside the city, and upon arrival, we're attacked by Tira Bloodfire herself. Pretty weak as far as bandit leaders go. From her body, we can recover the Ebony Plate Armor set and Volume 1 of the Crimson Dirks. After we've made our own set of ebony plate armor, it can be displayed with the book in the Hall of Wonders. Really cool armor set, actually. Like, I'm not even gonna make a joke, it's just intimidating and cool, even if it's not super powerful. Alright, so this one requires a little bit of backstory. Back in our college days, we were on a quest that ended up leading us to the Sky Temple ruins. We killed a dragon there. It was a whole thing. While we were there, we came across the body of a dead mage. I don't have the footage anymore because I failed to think ahead about this, but the scene looked like this. Now, the most important part of the staves you see here, the arm of the sun and the arm of the moon, there was also an amulet, the Warlock's Mark. According to the journal on the dead mage, these artifacts belonged to their master, who was attempting to create something similar to the Staff of Chaos. The Staff of Chaos was a relic of immense power featured in the Elder Scrolls Arena. To make a very long story short, it was eventually supposedly destroyed. Whatever happened to it, it hasn't been seen since the year 399 of the Third Age, which was 235 years ago. Our job today is pretty simple: pick up where the old master and now dead mage left off and maybe reforge something similar-ish to the Staff of Chaos. In order to get started powering these things up, we need to get our hands on some sigil stones, and to do that, we need to track down the corpse of the old master. Her name was Elaine, and she had a ring that we can use to summon the proper Daedra with the proper sigil stones. Unfortunately, the journal on the dead mage informed us that their master's body had been shipped back home with no mention of where home is. Not all hope is lost forever. We know the name of the ship, Sea Stallion, and with that info, we can hopefully track it down. So we're here at the East Empire Company office in Windhelm, because if anyone knows boats and shit, it's these fellas. Sure enough, there's a very convenient note here concerning the loss of the Sea Stallion. As you might expect, it crashed right here in Skyrim. Fortunately, we're a lizard that can breathe underwater, so we're off to Pilgrim's Trench. Pilgrim's Trench is a giant underwater ravine with quite a few shipwrecks, and it can be found northwest of Winterhold. There are a few things for us to find down here aside from the ring, like Miriam's spyglass. This is what we would have been using to find seashells if we didn't have the conchologist, as using it marks nearby shells with a quest marker for an easier time collecting. However, since we've already handled the shells, it can be displayed in the Explorers Society Guildhouse. We can find Elaine's coffin resting on this outcrop of rock, and from within the coffin itself we can recover the Sovereign's Band, which allows us to summon Daedra, I guess. We can summon the Daedra just a little ways north of the Sky Temple ruins at this very convenient altar. Now we just need to kill them, which is remarkably easy, as you might expect. I am super cool and awesome after all. From their bodies we can recover the orange sigil stone, the blue sigil stone, and the green sigil stone. Back at the safe house we can make use of the forge to combine the Warlock's Mark and the blue sigil stone, imbuing the ring with power and completing it as a display. At the Staff Enchanter we can then imbue the Arm of the Sun and the Arm of the Moon using the orange and green sigil stones respectively. Lastly, we need to make replicas of the 3 sigil stones we just used up, and once that's done it all goes on display in the Hall of Wonders. Just a nice display really. The staves of course draw the whole thing together with the sigil stones, but with the Warlock's Mark and the Sovereign's Band adorning either side, it really gives the impression that we did a whole lot more than light grave robbing with a side of Daedra summoning. We are here at Lost Valley Redoubt, not for any particular reason, just passing through to other parts, but we came across something incredible: the Phantasmal Chest. This chest is added by Legacy of the Dragonborn, and activating the chest causes it to vanish. No worries, it also gives us a spell to summon the chest whatever we want, and it's loaded with goodies the first time you find it. However, being burdened with success as I am, we only managed to walk away with 2 new coins and 2 new gems. Quite frankly, the biggest boon here is probably the chest, as we can now summon it whenever we need some extra storage, which is beneficial for obvious reasons. It's not the easiest thing to find, however, as every 24 hours it's randomly transported to one of 30 locations across Skyrim and Solstheim. That being said, I've never had to actively look for it before. I always just sort of stumble across it at some point or another. So if you haven't found it, don't fret. It's a matter of when, not if. Still taking quite the detour to our next location. We're here at Bile Gulch Mine, and while I could just leave it be for now, I feel like it would just end up confusing me later on. So here we are killing bandits, you know, the usual. In the mine itself, we managed to find and recover the Black Ninja Doll. It goes in the Hall of Oddities with the other ninja dolls. Then, in the strongbox on the same table, we can recover the Ring of the Iron Fist. This thing looks great, and as the name suggests, it increases unarmed damage. Our Ring of Sithis has been on the fritz lately, so we may end up using this. Probably not, though. We are finally here at Hedraheim. Back when we first reached level 10, we received a letter from Aidvina Shieldhearth. She's the last of her clan and wants to give us the home, but we must first prove our title of Badass Warrior and kill her for it. This feels a little disrespectful, but honestly, she should be honored. I'm such a great warrior that even with a pickaxe, I'm giving her an express ticket to Sovngarde. From her body, we can recover the key to the front door. Let's take a look at this place. Get away to this charming, authentically rustic Nordic retreat. Nestled in the heart of Skyrim, it's perfect for adventurous travelers and family vacations. Outside, you'll discover your own private oasis featuring practical amenities like quaint stables, ample storage options, and fresh pheasant right at your doorstep. Engage in immersive crafting experiences at the outdoor workstation, complete with a forge, smelter, grindstone, and wood chopping block. After getting hot and sweaty, head inside to indulge in the cozy luxury of an open concept floor plan, showcasing impressive weapons displays, a beautifully furnished dining area, and a fully stocked kitchen, perfectly designed for culinary enthusiasts. Every detail has been thoughtfully arranged to enhance your stay and your experience. Retreat to the inviting back room, tastefully decorated and offering plush sleeping accommodations, including a sumptuous double bed. There's also a delightful children's corner with twin beds and playful charm. A peaceful reading nook with an inspirational shrine of Akatosh adds a touch of tranquility. The home's lower level houses a spunktacular trophy room, a collector's paradise to proudly showcase your most treasured artifacts, legendary weapons, and exclusive collectibles. Marvel at the displays designed specifically for dragon claws, dragon priest masks, and iconic relics, combining adventure, relaxation, and a touch of Nordic magic. This extraordinary home promises an unforgettable family experience. book now at your local EEC B&B. EEC B&B. Our next semblance of a quest brings us to Pure Water Run. We're here because a while back we wandered into Shore's Stone and came across a guy named Azadi. He wanted to fight, and after beating him in a brawl, he gave me a note. "We'll be in touch," it said. He then promptly disappeared. This happened back in episode 2, and I don't have the footage because quite frankly, the whole thing felt like I had imagined it. Eventually, a courier arrives with a letter from someone named Fiji. It's one of those. He's from a group known as the Remnants, and from what I can surmise, they're basically the Illuminati of Hammerfell, and they've been going up against the Thalmor, who are still attacking Hammerfell in secret despite the existence of a peace treaty. Long story short, a Hammerfell noble by the name of Ismal helped the Thalmor apprehend another remnant by the name of Rakid, and Fishy wants us to help get him back as they flee across Skyrim towards Morrowind. Naturally, we're perfect for the job as we've made quite a reputation around these parts for doing whatever we want, whenever we want to. So here we are in Pure Water Run to meet up with Fishy in person. He's gonna fill us in on what needs to be done.
It's all in this note.
Simply put, we need to visit a couple of the agents he has stationed around Skyrim to gather more info. Their trigger word is "the Raven takes flight once more," because nothing's as subtle like weird cryptic bullshit. The first agent can be found in Karth Waston. After saying the least conspicuous thing ever, she hands us a note that confirms what we learned from Fishy. Ismal was crossing through Skyrim with the Thalmor, and he likely had Rakid with him. Slight detours, we haven't actually been to Karth Waston yet. We arrived to find the owner of the town arguing with Silverblood mercenaries. Forsworn had taken over the mine, and while the mercenaries did clear them out, they were refusing to leave until Einthatch, the owner, sold the town and 2 mines to the Silverblood family. We agreed to step in and resolve the issue, and while we could solve this using violence, why would I bother when I'm absolutely loaded with cash? He wants 721 gold for him and his boys to piss off, and that's more than the Silverbloods were paying him?
This is more than the Silverbloods are paying us.
I can find that much gold up my ass on a bad day. We return to Einthatch and tell him the good news. For our efforts, he gives me 12,000 gold. It goes without saying, but he had the power to solve the problem by himself this entire time. We also stole this dead sexy helmet from one of the houses. It's a smash for me. Getting back on track, we're here in Ivarstead to speak with the second agent. His letter confirms the location where we can find the Thalmor convoy we're looking for, Sunderstone Gorge. Before heading there, we need to report back to Fishy and let him know what we've learned.
It just so happens I've got some scouts along the road. Meet up with them, and together, see if you can't overpower the caravan.
Easy enough. For our efforts, he gives us a key to the nearby chest, which contains a unique book, the Ebon Arm, a very snazzy remnant shield, 2 remnant scimitars, and a full remnant armor set. As you may have guessed, we'll need to make our own, as we can't display these enchanted variants, but we'll need to finish the quest before we're able to. Arriving at Sunderstone Gorge, we approach the caravan, drop a fart cloud, and absolutely demolish a group of Thalmor and 1 snooty Hammerfell noble. With that done, we can search the not-so-noble noble to recover Bone Shaver. I like it. Not on a smash level, but like a cool work acquaintance. After that, we can find Rakid the Remnant agent and release him from his bindings.
Thanks a lot.
Before leaving, don't forget to snag an unenchanted remnant scimitar from the back of the caravan. This one can be displayed. Reporting back to Fishy one last time, he thanks us for our efforts, hands over 400 gold, and returns to the depths from whence he came. After making the remaining armor pieces of the remnant set for ourselves, we can place everything we've gathered on display in the Hall of Wonders. Clean, simple, another thing, one more other thing. I want to say smashed, but this display is too pure. It's wistful like the wind. It's ample like an ample thing. So I will say, with the utmost respect and fealty, smash. Amen. This next quest was also started at some point in the past. We found ourselves in the destroyed Hall of the Vigilant, where we found a letter addressed to Keeper Karset, the now dead leader of the Hall. According to the writer of the letter, Azarain, he had been directed by Keeper Karset to investigate missing vigilants in Dawnstar, and he had arrived. His old partner Fenric was among the missing. And since we're a nosy bitch, we also make for Dawnstar, finding a note in Azarain's room at the Wind Peak Inn. Evidently, he was masterly baited to meet someone at the Windward Ruins outside of town and to come alone. We arrive at the Windward Ruins to find Azarain, unsurprisingly, dead, having been masterly baited to his death. He has a book for the library that we need, as well as a full set of Vigil veteran armor that we'll also be needing for the museum. His journal explains that a Daedra cult has set up shop in Dawnstar, and that they've been using poisoned elven daggers to perform their killings. He had narrowed it down to 3 suspects, Harold, Irene, and Vareth, before falling for the oldest trick in the book. We're directed to tell these people to find who's responsible, and we start with Harold, a worker in the mines. He has not one, but 2 elven daggers on him, so he's probably the fellow we're looking for. Time to get my tailing on. I too like to stand solemnly in the rain before doing culty stuff. Back to work, I guess. Or maybe not? Well, 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 if it isn't a cult dedicated to Molag Bal, and who's that I see acting as the leader? A Vigilant of Stendar? How very, very shocking. A Vigilant of Stendar falling into the clutches of Molag Bal, their sworn enemy who's known to be a manipulative, cunning, conniving asshole who only wants to dominate and enslave your soul? That's the guy you were convinced to join? How very, very, very shocking. Wow. From Fenric's body, we can recover a Vigil corrupted armor set, which we will of course be needing for the museum. We can also find his journal in which he explains how he managed to be corrupted. So get this, he accidentally got turned into a vampire. You know, that disease that Molag Bal started. And in his infinite wisdom, he figured the best way to handle this situation and cure himself of vampirism was to strike a deal with Molag Bal. Molag Bal, being Molag Bal, basically said, "Lol, sure loser, sacrifice 9 of your vigilant friends to me." And Fenric went along with it. I swear to God, man. Vigilants are some of the most easily corrupted people on the planet. They seemingly can't help but throw themselves into Molag Bal's hands at the slightest hint of inconvenience. It's just... Anyway, before leaving, we can also snag the Vigil Enforcer armor from this sacrificed Vigilant and the Vigil Silver Hand armor from the nearby table. Finally, at the forge, we need to create these 4 pieces of armor by ourselves, as they cannot be found anywhere in the world for us to just pick up. Once that's done, all 4 armor sets can be displayed in the Hall of Wonders. They're all right next to each other, but they have their own space. I actually really like these armor sets. Something about them just seems powerful, like something you really don't want to mess with. If only the truth were as pleasant. Unfortunately, this armor also screams, "Corrupt me, I'm an easy target." Alright folks, home stretch. If you're still here, you either zoned out looking at something else or you're just really interested in what you're seeing. Either way, thanks for being here. It's time to address the elephant in the room, and no, I'm not talking about my dump truck of an ass. I'm talking about... And you may be thinking, what's wrong with fishing? Oh, you sweet, beautiful, wonderful Enwa. Nothing's wrong with fishing. It's great, and we're gonna have a great time doing it. We can start our magically wonderful journey by speaking with Swims in Deep Water. He's a master fisherman, and he could teach us a thing or two about fishing. And by teach, I mean give us a list of fish to catch and a book detailing roughly where to find them. Great, I love this. We just need to find a carp, a glassfish, a goldfish, and a pogfish. How hard could that possibly be? Okay, I mean, we do need one of these for the museum, so that's a win already. Oh, and look, a carp. We're basically 2 for 2. This is easy. Nope, 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 nope. A goldfish. Wonderful. Nope, 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 nope. My oh my, Poggy Woggy Pogfish. Only one left to find. This is so easy and so fun. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. Ah, there we go, sneaky little bugger, but that is 4 fair weather fish. We just need to return them to Swims in Deep Water. So easy, it's so easy! Before heading back to Riften, however, we're going to check out the Lake Ilinalta hidden chamber mentioned in one of Sanamia's journals, specifically the one we found in Arkwyn Point earlier in the episode. Honestly, super easy to find, and after digging away at this rock for a very wet 12 hours, we can enter the main chamber. There's really not much to be found in the winding flooded halls aside from slaughterfish. That is until we come across a treasure room of some fashion, and aside from the piles of gold, we managed to walk away with the handful of new gems. Painite, Meteorite, Enstatite, Hiddenite, Granditerite, Pesatite, Pesatite, Black Opal, Brazilianite, and Pyromorphite. Just delicious, absolutely wonderful. Please enter my mouth. Back in Riften, we can hand over our fish to our master, Swims in Deep Water, and in the same breath, we can ask for our next set of fish.
It's all in this note.
Rainy weather fish this time around, how fun. And a quick side note, you may have noticed when we turned in our fish just now that something is amiss. Not quite how it should be. there's a problem just bubbling under the surface, like a fish. But we'll come back to that shortly. For now, don't forget to snag the second fishing book from the Riften Fishery. Now you may be thinking to yourself, wait, rainy weather fish, does that mean you have to wait for it to rain to catch these fish? Yes, but also no. You see, our master has a special hat that makes it rain when we fish. We just need to find it because he lost it. Not really sure how one manages to lose a hat with straps, but they don't exactly call him Keeps Hat on Head, you know?
Something strange happens to Khajiit when they arrive in Skyrim.
Fortunately, our master knows the general area where he lost his special hat, and we just need to fish it up. Oh, it really is just that easy, and while the hat isn't a display for the museum, it's worth keeping around for the utility alone. And yes, our master does technically want his hat back, but you can just lie about having found it. There's no fact-checking in Skyrim, it's all fake news. With our brand new hat on my head, it's time to catch our rainy weather fish. We need to catch a catfish, a pearlfish, a pygmy sunfish, and a spadefish. Let's do it. Nope. Bing bong, catfish, meow on into my mouth, bitch. Nope. Nope. And yet, despite the number of times I've been here, I failed to notice Fairy 3 just chilling right here. Nice. Nope. Nope. Hey, the spadefish. 4 more of these and we'll have a flush fish. Nope. 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 Yet another fairy I completely failed to notice. A Zelda from Fairy, no less. I'd say smash, but physics simply won't allow such things. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Yes, good pearlfish. It's pretty, almost like it's beckoning me towards the light. One more. Nope, 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 nope. At this point, despite all the fun we're having, I was reaching the limits of my patience, and so I began scouring the water. I had learned that while these fish could be fished up like normal, they could also be found in the water and caught by hand. This rabbit seems to have the right idea, but this rabbit is on drugs. After some searching on my own, in a very helpful Reddit thread, we find the pygmy sunfish floating casually in this pool northeast of Darkwater Crossing. Much easier than fishing for hours and 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 hours. Fish and fist, we can return our rainy weather bounty to our master, who rewards us with an Argonian fishing rod. When using the rod, we have a higher chance of catching large fish. It also goes in the museum, but we'll save that for later. We'd love to learn some more from our master at this point, but alas, he refuses to teach us more for reasons I don't fully understand, and so we're sent to speak with Viria, who has more than a few fishing contracts for us to handle.
It's all in this note.
Cool! Looks like the owner of the alchemy shop in Falkreath is in need of a glass fish. We've only ever found one of these, and as far as I can tell, they can only be caught by hand in Blackreach. So it looks like we're back to fishing. That's... Nope, 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 nope. Oh my god, finally, you invisible little bit. Arriving in Falkreath, we can hand over the glassfish to Zaria, who gives us 200 gold and another note, cause why use words when note do trick? It's from the Jarl. Apparently, confiscated skooma has been going missing in the guard barracks, and the Jarl suspects one of the guards is to blame, and so, in order to teach this guard a lesson, we're given an invisibility potion disguised as skooma. We simply need to hand this not skooma over to this guard and follow him into the basement, where he proceeds to drink it in the middle of the barracks. No shame on this guy, and honestly, I can't say I blame him. He lives in Falkreath.
Somebody do something!
With the guard handled, we can return to Zaria, who rewards us with the Ring of Surroundings. It increases sneak by 20% and goes in the Hall of Heroes with the other jewelry. Back in Riften, we can receive another fishing contract from Viria.
It's all in this note.
This bounty's for a goldfish. Mila Valencia wants one to keep as a pet, but she can't catch one herself because she's just a kid. More than that, anyone who brings her a goldfish will be her best friend. How adorable. Fortunately for us, there's an ample supply of goldfish floating around Clear Spring Tarn, so we can snag a few by hand without any trouble. Here in Whiterun, we can hand over the goldfish to Mila, who proceeds to place it in a trough outside her house. She gives us a single gold for our efforts, which is to be expected, and another gold because she felt the need to repeat herself.
It's all in this note.
This next one is simple enough. Some old dude in Morthal wants to challenge us to a fishing contest. Sounds great. We can of course find him here in Morthal, and since we ain't a chump, we decide to wager 1,000 gold! We arrive at the place where the contest is meant to be held and are immediately attacked by bandits. They manage to put up a fight, but not a good one. With the bandits dead, I'm left a little confused about what I'm supposed to be doing next, and it isn't until I check my journal that I realize our fishing rival Brutius was in on the attempt to ambush us. That rat bastard! His journal confirms what I've just said and also mentions that he lost his special ring in the river here, so we're gonna have to fish that bad boy up. Nope. Oh, and there it is. Blessed be thy day. That could have been a lot worse. Now, normally we would have found the Warlock's Ring here, but due to Legacy of the Dragonborn's interaction with the mod, we instead find the Atronite Ring, which increases elemental spell damage, while also increasing resistance to said elements. Neat, but decidedly outclassed by a number of other rings. Since the fishing contest was held nearby, we decided to check out Watch, another Creation Club house. We can gain access to the house by reading this dead guy's journal and throwing a spell at the seal here. Once the magical beacon has sprung to life, we're free to enter the building and check it out. Escape to Watch, a captivating tower retreat partially perched over tranquil marshland waters, ideal for adventurers and those seeking serene enchantment. Your journey begins by crossing an elegant bridge marked by the mysterious Eye of Magnus, leading you into a hidden sanctuary filled with magical allure and inviting comfort. Inside the tower's cozy main chamber, unwind beside a grand, welcoming fireplace. Delight in thoughtfully designed sleeping quarters, generous storage solutions, and a fully stocked, fully charming kitchen, perfect for cooking feasts and casual dining. Ascend through an intriguing magical portal to enter the gallery, an inspiring haven for crafters, collectors, and explorers alike. Wander through the lush alchemy garden, meticulously arranged with fertile plots for your herbal adventures. Engage your creativity at various crafting stations, including the exclusive Allforge and an elusive staff enchanter. Proudly exhibit your most treasured Skyrim collectibles using the tower's abundant display cases, mannequins, plaques, and specialized showcases. With its harmonious blend of mystery, crafting luxury, and enchanting relaxation, Watch promises an unforgettable stay for you and your victims. Book now at your local EEC B&B. EEC B&B.
It's all in this note.
This one is a little different from the others. There's a small fishing shack on the shore west of Dawnstar, and reports from other fishermen claim that mud crabs have been attacking people at the shack. Mud crabs are not usually this violent, so we're tasked with checking out the shack and finding out what has them acting this way. We arrive at the shack only to be immediately attacked by a swarm of frenzied mud crabs. There's a lot of them, but yeah, they're mud crabs, and they die like mud crabs. With the swarm handled, we can search a nearby wizard to recover an ancient Nord dagger. These are added by the fishing mod, but also the heavy armory mod, in case you have that. Either way, it goes in the armory with the other Nordic equipment. Taking a look at the wizard's journal reveals them to be a necromancer, and in order to train, he had been luring, killing, and then reviving mud crabs. This caused the mud crabs to get really mad, and they killed him. God damn, jeez. What a weak and, dare I say, pathetic loser. Back in Riften, we can report our success to Viria, who gives us something rather special.
I've come to rely on you. There's something I want you to have.
It is an Alicree fishing rod. This rod increases the chance of catching small fish, and as you might have guessed, it goes in the museum with the other rods. Moving right along.
It's all in this note.
This bounty is from the Jarl of Windhelm. A Horker has been attacking fishermen north of Hollyfrost Farm, and apparently it's able to drain the life from its victims. And as interesting as that is, the good people of Windhelm would prefer it stop doing that and die. In order to do that, we need to lure it out, and in order to lure it out, we need an Arctic grayling. Fortunately for us, they can be found a little way southeast of the wreck of the Winter War, casually swimming about in the icy cool waters. Heading north of Hollyfrost Farm, we can place the Arctic grayling on this bloody rock, drawing Fang Tusk the Horker out from the depths. Fang Tusk does appear to have the ability to drain our life, but a Horker is a Horker, and no amount of buffs is going to change that. Searching Fang Tusk reveals that he swallowed a vampiric ring, which explains the rather unnatural powers you wouldn't expect a Horker to have. The ring itself can be displayed in the Hall of Heroes with the other jewelry. We can then speak with the Jarl's Steward, who gives us 200 gold for our efforts. Pretty underwhelming, considering we just slayed your mother.
It's all in this note.
Another rather simple one, Linnea of Markarth is seeking a fishing tutor, someone who can show her the ways of a master baiter and lead her on to bluer streams. We can find her here in the Silverblood Inn, where we agree to show her what we know. Down at the Markarth Pond, we can meet up with Linnea and begin our demonstration, which in this case means catching 3 fish. And that's 3. Awfully quiet. Oh, it seems she left at some point. We can find her back here at the Silverblood Inn. I guess the call of alcohol was stronger than the call of being a master batesman. For our efforts, she gives us her Amulet of Debella, which increases speech and stamina, so basically an amulet of fornication, and while not a display, it does make for a decent JO crystal. Smash.
It's all in this note.
This one is from Rasad of the Khajiit Caravan. They were attacked by wolves west of Old Hroldan Inn, causing some of their merchandise, in this case 3 bottles of Flynn, to tumble into the river below. To make matters worse, those bottles had already been sold, and so they desperately need a master batesman such as myself to fish them up, which we will be doing, but not before stopping off at the Old Hroldan Inn, as we've yet to explore the location. From here, we're able to acquire some special soap from the inn, the unique drink, the Dragonhorn Stout, and some Dremora Gold Mead. These items can be displayed in the bathroom of the museum safe house and various locations within the Hall of Oddities. Finally, we want to request to stay in the Tiber Septim room, which Tiber Septim himself supposedly slept in. Doing this causes a ghost to appear in the inn. In the inn. That's really hard to say. The ghost is waiting for someone named Hjalti.
You promised you would make me your sworn brother. Give me your sword, Hjalti, that we may become brothers, as you promised.
We agree to somehow find and retrieve this sword because Hjalti can't, as they are very obviously super duper ultra dead. Thankfully, the barkeep here is very knowledgeable and points us in the direction that we may find Hjalti's sword. It's here at Hag's End, and after making fairly short work of the forsworn Briarheart, we can search this big chest for our efforts to recover Hjalti's sword, which we can then return to the ghost, who teaches us a few things about one-handed weapons and blocking. Back at the museum, we then need to make a replica of Hjalti's sword, which can be displayed in the Hall of Oddities. Getting back on track, we're here west of Old Hroldan to fish up some Flynn. Oh, nice. That's 1 already. Nope. Hey, 2 already? Fortune smiles on me today. Nope. Almost jinxed it there, but that's 3. Now we just need to find Rasad.
Hand over your bounty.
For our efforts, we are rewarded with the Ring of the Khajiit, which increases our movement speed by 10% and allows us to cast the Hide spell. Despite being a fishing reward, it goes in the Hall of Heroes with the other rings and necklaces.
It's all in this note.
This bounty is from Eriker's sister. She finds herself flush with cash and wants to have a seafood feast, and since the Winking Skeever can't hope to acquire some of the ingredients she desires, it's up to us. For the feast, we need to prepare a grilled Arctic char, steamed crab legs, and a bowl of crab stew. Easy. Thankfully, we have most of the ingredients on hand. We just need to snag a potato, which we have, and make some butter using a jug of milk, which we also had. Easy peasy, butter me up and squeeze me. We're lacking an Arctic char, so we're here at the Pilgrim's Trench to snag a few swimming around the wreckage. We can also grab this anglerfish, which we'll need later, and some anglerfish larvae, which we'll also be needing later. Back at the safe house, we can prepare the Arctic char, and then at the Winking Skeever, prepare this table upstairs and wait. Eriker's sister arrives shortly thereafter to enjoy her feast, and after waiting an hour for her to finish, she rewards us with 159 gold and a letter offering her praise and thanks. Kind of a ripoff for our efforts, all things considered, but that's about what I expected from someone as renowned and famous as Eriker's sister.
It's all in this note.
This bounty is from dear old Calselmo. He's heard rumors from a number of fishermen about a strange Dwemer mechanism near Bronzewater Cave and wants someone to investigate. Here at Bronzewater Cave, we can find a journal left by someone investigating the strange mechanism. They believe that the items needed to power the mechanisms need to be fished up from the riverbed, but so far have had little success in doing so. They believe a dwarven fishing rod is needed to make further progress and somehow caught wind that one can be found at the Alftond Ruined Tower. Arriving and entering the aforementioned tower, we managed to find Ethereum. Schematic for the dwarven fishing rod. Not a rod, but basically the next best thing. With the schematic in hand, we can speak with Cal Salmo in Markarth, who agrees to make the fishing rod for us in exchange for the schematic. And after waiting 24 hours, we receive the dwarven fishing rod, which goes in the museum, but also increases the chances of catching items and or junk while fishing. We simply need to fish up whatever powers the dwarven mechanisms. Nope. An Ethereum Dynamo Core. Very nice, very delicious. Just need the other one. Nope. Oh, well that was quick. Just like your dad last night. Having acquired both Dynamo Cores, we simply need to slot them into both receptacles, which causes a dwarven chest to rise from the water. From within the chest, we can acquire the Urkengathand War Axe of Fire and the Urkengathand War Axe of Freezing, both of which can be displayed in the Hall of Wonders. Additionally, back at the safe house, or any forge for that matter, we'll need to make an unenchanted Urkengathand War Axe, which will be displayed alongside the Fire and Freezing variants. Also, before leaving Bronzewater Cave, do not forget to remove the Ethereum Dynamo Cores from their receptacles, because I did, and we need both of them for the museum. If you leave them here, which again, I did, they will disappear and you'll have no choice but to spawn them in manually, which I also did. Okay, having for now reached the end of Viria's bounties, it's time to return to our master and receive more training.
It's all in this note.
This time we're tasked with retrieving 4 various frozen fish, which in this case means very cold water fish, an angler larvae, an Arctic char, an Arctic grayling, and a cod. Fortunately, thanks to our amazing diligence, we already have most of these fish. The only one we're missing is a cod. On the way out, don't forget to grab Volume 3 of Fishing Mastery. Like the other volumes, it goes in the museum. We can then find ourselves some cod swimming in the river just outside Windhelm, which is just wonderfully convenient. Who would have guessed that the best way to do the fishing content is to not bother fishing at all? With our pockets bursting with fish, once again, we can return them all to our master, who rewards us with 300 gold and another list of fish.
Maybe you can help me.
This time our master wants dark fish, which in this case means cave fish, and shockingly enough, we haven't found a single one of these. We need a dire fish, a glass catfish, a tripod spiderfish, and a vampire fish. Starting off with the easy ones, we're here at the Clear Spring Tarn Cave, where we can recover a single dire fish and a small handful of tripod spiderfish. That's 2 down already. I sure do love not fishing. To get our hands on the vampire fish, we're headed to Castle Volkahar, which, you know, kind of makes sense. Wrapping around the waters toward the left side of the island, we can find more than enough vampire fish to suit our needs. Last on our list is the glass catfish. Like the regular glass fish, this fish can only be caught by hand in Blackreach, so we're here at Embershard Mine to fish one up for ourselves. Nope. Oh, good. I was worried that this was going to be a similar case to the glass fish, but it seems my worries were unwarranted. Oh yeah, and don't forget to grab Fishing Mastery 4. It's not exactly going anywhere, so there's no rush, but we do need it. Returning the fish to our master rewards us with 400 gold in our final fish list.
It's all in this note.
What better way to end our training than by catching rare and legendary fish? They are an angelfish, an anglerfish, a lyre-tail anthias, and a scorpion fish. We already picked up an anglerfish from the Pilgrim's Trench, so that leaves only 3 fish to track down, but not before grabbing the final volume of Fishing Mastery. With all 5 volumes, we truly are a master baitsmith. We'll be going after the angelfish first, which can be found in the Ancestor Glade. You know, that place you visit to get high on moth dust. They're just here in this small pool, along with some other uncommon fish. Quite serene, really, unlike regular fishing, which is a closed-loop nightmare. Additionally, up on the cliffs on the far side of the chamber, we can find and recover the Akaviri Sunderblade. It ignores 50% of your opponent's armor and has a chance to disarm as well. It goes in the Hall of Heroes. The lyre-tail anthias can be found at the Evergreen Grove, which lies east of Knife Point Ridge. After making short work of these Spriggans defending the grove, we can snag a few lyre-tail anthias from the small pond. Finally, we come to the scorpion fish, which can be found in Darkfall Cave, also known as the Path to the Forgotten Vale. Not far into the cave, we come across a waterfall and a small water basin, and in the basin itself, we can very conveniently find 2 scorpion fish. With all these fish in hand, we can return to our master one final time.
You are like my brood to me. Here, a token.
For our efforts, we are rewarded with the Fang of Haynek Tamet. It goes in the Hall of Heroes with the other daggers. And don't even bother trying to say that 5 times fast. Braver people have tried, and they're now dead. Okay, so remember earlier when we turned in our first set of fish and I mentioned that there was a small problem? Well, the small problem is that by turning in the fish we had collected, we deprived ourselves of the very same fish that we need to display in the museum. Now, fortunately, we've managed to collect enough of each fish that this wasn't a huge problem, but there are another 4 fish that we managed to only collect 1 of, and they are a dire fish, an anglerfish, a glassfish, and a glass catfish. And so we'll need to track these down once again so that we may display them in the museum. And so we're here back at Clear Spring Tarn Cave, where we can grab yet another direfish, and in the Pilgrim's Trench we can find 2 anglerfish this time around, though we only need 1. And as I'm sure you know by now, the glass variants of fish can only be caught by hand in Blackreach, so we're back here in the Embershard mine to fish up another glass catfish. Nope, nope, no, 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 no. There's my boy. Let's hope your smaller brethren puts up less of a fight. Quick side note, we are now a devotee of our boy Jeffrey. This allows us to pray to him to clear the weather and makes our stamina regenerate very, very quickly, assuming we're not in combat. Like seriously, check this out. Whoop. All right, glassfish, let's take this nice and easy, huh? Nope, 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 no, 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 no.
Dare fight a Dunmer?
No! Sweet Christ, you evil little monster. Well, that was certainly a lot of fishing, and there's really only one more fishing grind that needs to happen at this point, and that's rings. There are 4 unique rings added by the fishing mod, and every single one of them is required for the display in the Hall of Wonders. And so we're back at Bronze Water Cave with the dwarven fishing rod in hand, and while I could skip over all the attempts that didn't result in a ring, I think it's important for y'all to get a rough idea of what you'll need to go through in order to recover all these rings, so let's do it. Nope, 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 nope. Ah, good, that's 1. The Ring of Willpower. If only I had one of these right now. Nope, nope, nope. Oh wow, almost back to back. That's 2. The Ring of Kinnereth has blessed this day with false hope. Nope, 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 nope. Really starting to feel like I'm taking psychic damage at this point, but that's 3, the Ring of Gelid Protection. Just 1 more. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. Ah, fuck. That's 4. The Ring of Agility. So much fun. This was so much fun. Wow, I loved every single agonizing second of that. Oh, but we're not done just yet. We may have finished with the actual fishing part, but there are still a few things that Viria needs from us, and so she sent another letter via courier to once again ask for our help. Apparently the frenzied mudcrabs have reappeared, and she needs our help to rectify the situation and requests that we meet her at the fishing shack west of Dawnstar. We arrive to find a small army of Imperial soldiers, which seems a bit of an overreaction, but with how weak some of these people are, I guess it's better safe than sorry. We're then set upon by yet another swarm of frenzied mudcrabs. There's quite a lot more of them this time around, and we need to clear 2 waves of mudcrab invasion before Viria requests to speak with us inside the shack.
Keep an eye out for trouble. It's only a matter of time.
At this point, we're interrupted by the trembling of the ground itself and leave the shack to find ourselves face to face with the Emperor Crab Guardian Spirit. We're unable to fist a crab this large, and with its massive claws slamming into the ground around us, it makes for a very dangerous encounter. We can put a stop to the siege by making use of the catapults here. We simply need to load them up with flaming pots, which for whatever reason, the mud crabs themselves seem to be supplying us with. After collecting 6 flaming pots, we can begin bombarding the Emperor Crab with the various catapults, and after firing off our 6th and final shot, the Emperor Crab slumps and disappears back to wherever giant spirit crabs come from, I guess. We can then speak with Viria, who thanks us for our efforts and asks that we report our success to the Jarl. We can find them here on super high alert, and she gives us a whopping 12,000 gold for our efforts. Love me some money. Our final fishing bounty is a simple one. At the same time we received Viria's letter about the crab attack, we also received a letter from Mila Valencia. She believes her goldfish is lonely and would like a second goldfish to keep the first one company. Thankfully, we have a few goldfish on hand already, so we just need to head to Whiterun and hand it over to her.
This is great. Wow, thanks. You're going to love it here. We have a lot of fun, and we look out for each other, just like any family. Thanks. Here, this is for you.
For our efforts, we're rewarded with a key to Mila's strongbox and a note explaining where to find it. It can be found along the left edge of Dragon's Reach. The strongbox itself contains various bugs, plants, and a single piece of gold, so basically your average kid junk, but as they say, one kid's junk is another lizard's treasure. For our final fishing quest that isn't a bounty, we'll need to acquire 18 pieces of firewood, 20 nails, 4 iron fittings, and a lock. With that done, we just need to wait for the courier, who will deliver one final letter from Viria. She wants to set up her own market stall in Riften and needs all the things we just gathered to do so. So returning to Riften, we can meet up with Viria and deliver the materials to her. Then after waiting 24 hours, we can find her at her brand new stall in the Riften marketplace. As thanks for our efforts, she rewards us with Viria's charm, which raises both heavy and light armor while also allowing us to breathe underwater. And it is the final asterisk relic that we need for the fishing display. Let's check it out in all its completed glory! Some of you more observant folk here may have noticed that we're missing a fish, and you would be right, it's the Deep Glow Char, and from my rather extensive research, I've come to the conclusion that this particular fish can only be caught by hand in Blackreach. And since we can't get into Blackreach just yet, we'll be saving this particular fish for later. And well, that's all the time we have for today. We've managed to make a fairly decent dent in the Hall of Wonders, collecting a whopping 163 relics, and in addition to the 123 relics we already procured before starting this episode, we're looking at a total of 286 relics stored in the hall so far. And that is out of the 615 total, so we're looking at around a 46.5% completion rate. Really not bad, certainly enough to get me off, but even still, there's quite a lot of work for us to do. That being said, with fishing out of the way, what we're really left with is a few genuinely fleshed out quest mods, a handful of fairly underwhelming armor hunting quests, and not one, but 2 massive grinds. But don't you worry about blank, let me worry about blank. If you're still here, I just want to thank you personally for sticking through to the end. These videos take quite a long time to put together, and I wouldn't be able to do it without your support. So thank you once again for being here with me in this fever dream of a life we all share together. You are a beautiful boss bitch badass. Smash! And of course, a huge shout out to our museum benefactors. They are Milk Rice, Key of Destiny, Belmont, Professor Draco, WN, Patton Elliott, Cassiopeia, Robin, Bro the Boomer, Red Dragon 997, Biz Direct, Alex Assassin, D-Buzzy-B, Lucifer, Baked Brownie, Gandzia, Steven, Lorekeeper 98, Coors Banquet Girl, Kanra Hatake, Master of Fate, Lenung Unrama, the SP Chef, Arturi Hirvansalo, Zara Karuk, The Night Janitor, and Winter Raven 37. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate your support so much, especially during these times where I just, take a long time to put out a video. You have the patience of a saint, and I think that is just so fantastic. Or, it's a Hotel California situation. Either way, thanks for being here, and thank you for your support. You guys are awesome as fuck.